Martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Weird, right? This is real life. Back and past with rap, I was real tight. Now I'm feeling like I got a little tighter goal. Better than the boy who muttered on the microphone. Zeal might with the steel mic. Happens so fast, but alas, it feels nice. Drinking in the prime, I find my lights a brighter glow. Thinking now it's time to shine and let my fire grow. It's all in my faith I had since long ago. It's been so far since yesterday. I'm calling today, Geronimo, the stars are paid. So now it's martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Future sight with the past due. Doing time, reminiscing of the past too. Nights of drinking tea before I hit the studio. Nights of being me, just warming up a groovy flow. Loose it tight with the rap view. Do or die, who am I to distract you? Now I'm living like my life is in a movie though. How I'm giving hype to find a way to move it slow. It's all in my faith I had since long ago. It's been so far since yesterday. I'm calling today, Geronimo, the stars are paid. So now it's martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Martinis in the back of the bus. Bars feeding me the raps that I love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually us. Martinis in the back bus. Bars feeding me raps love. It's not fleeting and I know I got meaning. No, I know I'm not dreaming, this is actually me. Yeah, it's about that time for us to get a little funky. Wanna know why?
Hello, everybody. This is Off the Cuff with Des and Zane. I am your host, Carissa Des.
And I am Zane Thomas.
And this is our special guest, DDwili,
What's going on?
also known as Dill.
Yes, AKA.
AKA
Yep.
Dill. That was my original rap name, by the way. Just Dill.
Just go with your name.
Just Dill.
That's what I do. This is a really special episode to me because we get to have two people a part of this episode that's honestly, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have my first podcast and I wouldn't have met Des, honestly, because Dill actually came to one of my first open mics.
True. That was back in, I think,
2020.
2020.
Wow.
It was literally a month after I moved here from the East Coast.
Yes.
Like
yes.
pre-pandemic.
No, it was
it was very
pandemic.
pandemic.
Yeah,
it was very
Very
pandemic.
pandemic-y.
Very post.
But, your open mic was the very first time I ever performed in Portland. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's such an honor, and you gave me the space to be able to do my album release, which Des came to. So
Yep, that was the first one of your shows that I went to as well, and it was pretty awesome. You had some great artists and good stuff.
yeah,
I think that was probably my favorite performance by you for sure.
Thank
Like I had seen
you.
you
I came
a
to the
couple
right
of
one
times
then.
before, but I was just like, man, Zane's really feeling.
Oh, dude, I was sending it. So, and the other person I want to shout out real quick is just Aji Sounds. He's the dude who helped me with sound for my first podcast. He helped me do live sound for my for the open mic. So it's a really special episode. I'm so excited. So let's get into it.
Let's go.
Wow, that was too synchronistic.
If you would have said it, it would have been really weird.
Excellent.
So we'll start off. How long have you been in the music scene in Portland?
So
2020,
2020,
right? Okay.
because I mean, I had been making music since I was in high school back in like 2007, 6, like sophomore, junior year or something like that.
All right.
And then I had been making music. I had a rap group that I was a part of that was kind of on and off because I went to college and stuff, and that was kind of a sad. It wasn't a bad breakup, but it was just something that we had to do because we were just distanced apart. And so I had been doing music for over a decade, like maybe about like 14 or 15 years. I started out just by like,
you look like you just
freestyling.
Realized that. You're like, holy crap.
Like,
Yeah,
wow,
no,
I'm a
it makes
seasoned
me
vet.
feel old. But yeah, I moved out here with my partner Raina 2 years ago because we were just done with New England. Like we wanted a new change. I was going to be turning 30 soon, and we just wanted something new. And then when the stimulus checks hit, we're just like, this will help us. So we both kind of split our stimulus checks to be able to afford like a hitch for her mother's car, and we got rid of a bunch of our own personal belongings that we didn't need, and then we just kind of drove across the country with 2 cats and my rabbit.
Wow.
So-
And a rabbit.
Yeah,
Wow.
2 cats and a rabbit. That's actually his first song that he performed in Portland.
Yes, that song meant a lot to me. But yeah, then I've just been around here for the past 2 years, and like we stated before, Zane put me on to my very first performance at the Big Legrowski in downtown Portland, and I guess somehow that has made the connections between everybody right now.
It's such a trip. It's really such a trip. But I really just appreciate you as an artist in so many ways because I mean, just the amount of like content that you have, the delivery that you have. So let's talk a little bit about the content.
Sure.
As far as like your bodies of work, what would you say is kind of like a theme that kind of runs throughout a lot of them?
Okay, so like my rap career is kind of like a roller coaster.
I love roller
because,
coasters.
Me too.
My
Sounds fun.
very first solo project which was in 2014 was called Brother, in which it was like a very melancholy project. Like Kid Cudi was a big influence on me in college, so I wanted to do a lot of melancholy, like hum singing and stuff, and I produced everything sampling like video games and stuff. So that took me like throughout college to make. Like I used to produce beats, and so from like 2009 to 2014 I had all these beats and stuff, but some of the songs I didn't finish until after I graduated college. Some of them I finished in freshman year, and so I started out melancholy, and then I took like a 4-year break. I graduated with a film degree, but I couldn't really find work that didn't just cost me more money to be able to work in film.
Sure.
So I got this opportunity to work for my father's place of business, FW Web in Connecticut, where I kind of did like warehousing and inventory work. And so I was saving up money. I never had a car, so that was the first thing. I was kind of separate from all of my friends that were in New Hampshire for about 2 years.
Sure.
And it was just me, and I'm just like not really having any inspiration to write. And then I was on SoundCloud one day, and I heard of this dude named Thovo Beats, and he had these funky, awesome, influential beats. And I'm like, I reached out to him. He's from the Netherlands, and I'm just like, yo, I want to buy all of these beats. And so then in 2018, I dropped this project called The Funk, which every project that I write, there's something that I want to work on in myself. The first one was getting out all these like weird feelings that I had that I wanted to do. This one, I wanted to sound more upbeat and confident and project more with my voice, because in the past I sounded very monotone when I tended to rap. So
That's cool
I
too,
wanted to be able to like make a project in which like I belt my words out with confidence and stuff. So that's where the funk came.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of found my sound. Like I was inspired by Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Ludacris,
Yeah, Luda.
Hey.
Black Alicious, rest in peace, the gift of gab. And so that's where I started. Like I always joke whenever I perform, like when I perform the funk, I'm like, this is where I actually started getting good at rapping. And then after that, in 2020, I wrote another kind of melancholy project. So there's the roller coaster effect called Good Night and Pretty Dreams, where I wanted to focus more on writing singles.
Sure.
Because I can't really write singles. I kind of think in like a conceptual state of mind where
You think the whole album
the
out.
whole album at once,
Okay.
where like I have these songs that belong in the beginning, and then I have songs that make more sense after you listen to all the other songs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Good Night and Pretty Dreams was my effort to work more on my singing, but also to come up with better like single songs. And I feel like I did the job. But it wasn't until after I moved here in which a lot of I knew that back in 2018 when I dropped The Funk, I wanted a sequel called Dreams of Disco, but like I couldn't find any of the beats. And then there was one day, like shortly after rapping at one of your open mics, I was just like, I want to write a project while I'm here, and I heard this beat and I'm like, that's the beat for Dreams of Disco. Let's start writing this album. And then Dreams of Disco kind of brought it back to that upbeat kind of dancey stuff, but a little bit more soul-like as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I kind of just have these roller coasters where I do really moody, depressing, melancholy stuff, and then really upbeat stuff. So the next stuff is kind of going back towards the melancholy, moody stuff. But
I'm here for it.
But I guess the things that are always consistent throughout my music is that I really like to sing while rapping as well, and my flow. I think that's like what has me stand out the most.
Definitely.
So.
I really like that you said that you challenge yourself and try new things. I think that's important.
I
to
think
push
it's
yourself
important.
out of your comfort
Yeah.
zone.
It's I feel like as an artist you should always challenge yourself to grow a little bit. Like if you keep doing the same thing every project, like where is the growth for that? Like you might have a niche that you're really good at. Like there are definitely some beats that I prefer doing because like, oh, I can write to this instantly.
Sure.
But like I try to shy away from that stuff because I want to be able to, even if I'm not fully comfortable with how my voice is, I still want to experiment and see like what other sources of inspiration I can pull from to be able to deliver things. So
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about singing. Singing something that I wish I was able to do. I rap and do comedy because I can't sing. But the people who can sing and implement it well is something that I always admire. So you sing a lot in your music.
Yeah.
What kind of got you into the singing aspect of it?
So I always, my biggest inspiration, and this kind of goes back to the whole wanting to try something new for every project. I really like gorillas.
Yeah.
Okay. They're my biggest influence. And that's also how I discovered Del the Funky Homo Sapien from Clint Eastwood.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so like they, Damon Albarn is one of my favorite singers. He kind of has like this sort of drifty, moody humming. I've learned recently that that's called crooning when you do that. So I
love
croon
that
a
I've
shit.
heard
lot.
the word.
I
Croon
love
a
that
lot
shit.
when I sing. But I've had no like formal training or anything. So everything that I do, I just do it over and over again until I feel like it sounds good. Like I know there are definitely some notes that I cannot hit, so I shy away from that stuff. But that's also why, like with the funk, I wanted to try to belt out my words instead of always being so hummy when I sing, because when you perform those humming songs live, it's kind of hard to hear those.
Yeah.
So singing is definitely a big important thing that I like to do because it's kind of like either drawing or dancing and stuff. It's just a way of expression, and that's how I express myself. Sometimes, like when I'm feeling sad, I just want to sing.
Yeah, definitely.
And then if I want to show off, that's where I do the rapping stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So you're from the East Coast originally. Do you feel like living there versus living here kind of affected the mood of your music?
Kind of. It's definitely affected my mind state when it comes to writing music. For
You're like,
sure.
I was sad before I got here.
No, I was sad and groovy before I came here. Thank you very much. But no, there was definitely some sentiments out there that I feel like are way different than the West Coast. Like East Coast is definitely, I don't want to like be the one that's like, this is true or anything. But from what I've noticed is that a lot of the East Coast tends to be a little bit more hard and boom bappy and not necessarily as experimental as some of the stuff that I've noticed out on the West Coast.
Sure.
I mean, I've always dug West Coast rappers like People Under the Stairs, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Hieroglyphics, anybody out here who kind of like rides that kind of groovy wave. I've always been influenced by that. But there's definitely different mindsets, like especially from the East Coast scene, that maybe were like a little toxic, but like have implemented into my mind state where, you know, when I was first rapping and going on stage, and I talk about this all the time on Instagram, and I know it's a point of contention for a lot of people, is backing vocals during live performances.
Dill loves them. He
I
says-
love them. I use them every single
you
time.
play
You
the
mean,
backing
like, you
vocals
have
over your normal vocals.
Your vocals in the background, or is it?
I've never performed with any vocals in the background. It's always
Okay.
just been me and the instrumental.
I
And
think I
you know-
like that better because a lot of
Yeah.
times I go to a show and like the singer is like tired or something, and it's just like their background music, and I'm like, Are you gonna sing on this song? So I kind of appreciate.
They just pull the mic away, and
it
you're
can be
just
cool
like,
sometimes too, but
Well, when I was younger, like in high school, if you tried to perform at shows sometimes in like New Hampshire, if they heard you have your backing vocals on, they would kick you off the stage. They'd be like, "You're not rapping, you're not singing, get off the stage."
this is rap
and
lip
stuff.
You lip
syncing.
sync.
No,
Yeah.
rap lip syncing, and I understand that like the environment for hip hop and music has changed so much in like the decade that I've been doing music, in which you know, I might be a little judgy and stuff, but that doesn't mean that you can't do what you need to do in order to put on the best live performance that you can. I personally also just like the challenge of, you know, if I mess up, like I'll have to freestyle. And ironically, at the thesis, you caught video of me performing two-step
Yeah.
with Bremer. You
Yeah.
caught me at the moment I messed up and freestyled.
oh, I didn't even notice.
That's
See?
because that's from
You
experience,
just smoothed it
yo.
over.
No, and so like I like the challenge of having to memorize everything and being able to rapidly spit everything, and knowing that if there's a chance that I make a mistake, people might be able to realize that. And it I don't know, to me, performing live is like watching like a stage play and stuff. Like if somebody's calling line every few times, it's like, okay, they didn't practice, they didn't rehearse. I don't know. It's another aspect of me challenging myself to do better, not just in the studio aspect of things, but also the live performance aspect of things. So
Right.
that's what I always actively think about. Like, there's definitely some songs I can't perform because the studio version has me doing weird things like multiple voices, or I purposely punch in at certain points to like give a point or an ad lib, and which it's impossible for me to do that live because my vocals can't literally do that.
Just split myself into a
just
shadow
split
clone.
myself into a shadow clone and then spit. But
Speaking of that, do you ever have like an acoustic show? It's a little bit different than, you know, like a band doing acoustic, but do you ever have like drummers and like guitarists while you're like singing and rapping?
so funny thing to lead into maybe another topic we could talk
Ooh.
about.
Let's go.
I represent this collective called Bars Over Bars PDX. I was nice and gave these guys some shirts.
You made me pay for mine. You got a free
yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry.
I like Des more.
That's fair.
And Bars Over Bars PDX is a show throwing promoter collective that I started out here. It originally started on the East Coast with my friend Hero the MC 2 years ago. And basically what we do is we just provide a platform for artists to be able to perform, and we also promote all of the shows. We try to make sure that we never charge the artists to perform. Back when I was growing up, like a lot of places that you wanted to perform at would be like, yo, all right, you have to either pay us or sell 20 tickets. And it's like, well, the artists are the ones that are doing, like, are bringing in the people and like doing
They're
the
doing the
art.
work,
You're
yeah.
just in the background making the money. So I try my best with all my shows. I split admissions amongst everybody. I also, with my Bars Over Bars shows, I try to give everybody like at least like 20 to 25 minutes, because like I like people being able to curate their own sets.
Sure.
You know, I love performing, so I could perform for like an hour, but there's some artists that I feel like 10 minutes is just not enough. So I want to do that. So man, I'm trying to remember exactly what
Bars over bars.
Yeah.
Bars over bars. Yeah. So
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So it started on the East Coast, and then you kind of brought it over here. Did you start it with somebody else, or was it all your?
Oh, it was definitely
just-
not
just
all
you?
my idea. Hero started it on the East Coast, and it started small. What he does is throws pop-ups, but also at random venues as well. So like he has all of his own musical equipment. So he'll go to like shoe stores on the East Coast throughout New England. He has like a whole team that like takes over New England. And he'll throw shows at like shoe stores, axe throwing places, bowling alleys, clothing stores,
shoe throwing places,
shoe throwing places, bowling alleys,
axe stores.
Yeah, and that's something that I would like to do at some point here too, where I just want to have shows at non-conventional venues that are kind of small and intimate, so that way people can like, it's like when you go to like shows at art galleries or something where they're kind of a small space, but you can hear everything that people are saying, so it seems more intimate and more of a shared experience. That's what I would like to do. I know that my main goals for Bars Over Bars is I'm centered in Portland right now. I've thrown a show up in Seattle, which was really cool. My first time ever going up to Washington.
Cool.
But my goal is to kind of be like the East Coast bars where they have New England on lock. I want to eventually work on getting the Pacific Northwest. So Washington, California, Oregon. Do we care about Idaho? Like,
not here.
Sorry, Idaho.
Yeah.
we'll make sure that there's a bar show in Idaho at some point.
Care more about
Sorry.
Iowa than Idaho.
I kind of went off on a tangent there,
Like
but
the
I know that
potatoes.
there was something that you were saying.
The original question was just about like doing kind of like a live performance with live musicians and stuff like that.
Yes.
Or
with
like-
live. So
Instead of like your own beats, like having like
Yes.
the
thank you
drummer
for
and-
reminding me
yeah.
because I
I forgot
totally
to.
did.
All right,
Zane,
well,
good-
no,
good
we
memory.
got
I'm glad
memory.
you have a good memory.
I don't.
So
You brought it back
where
around.
I don't.
Bars Play comes into play is my DJ Tough Shed from Medford.
Shout out to Tough Shed.
Shout out to
Tough
Tough
Shed.
Shed. Every single show that we throw, every second Wednesday at Big Legrowski downtown, he comes up, he drives up from Medford, so that's 4.5 hours.
Yes, it
and
is.
then he usually drives home. I usually make sure he sleeps at my house at least for a few hours because I don't want him just immediately going back home. But he occasionally will have some link ups where he'll bring like a drummer or somebody who they will rehearse people's sets. If people send their instrumentals or show sets early, they'll rehearse. And if people want drummers on their sets, they know when like the breakdowns happen and stuff, and those have been super awesome experiences. I love the jamming aspect of combining hip-hop sets with that because it also kind of is like a challenge to the artists themselves who might not have necessarily ever performed with like a backing drummer or
Yeah.
like a DJ who knows how to scratch and like drop the beat at certain
or
times.
knows the words to your songs. Like
Yeah.
Tough Shed was like singing my song.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like songs when and I was just
really
like,
put
dude,
some
I
work.
literally just met you today. So
Yeah,
like this
no,
is
Tough Shed is insane. Like he shows love to everybody that is on the shows. He listens to everybody that I put on. He'll play their music down in Medford when he's DJing or throwing shows
so
down
dope.
there. I'm very blessed to have met Tough Shed because he's been giving me lots of really good advice. He's kind of like the big bro to me. So
sure.
it's really nice to have somebody who from the get-go has supported me. And one thing that I really love about Portland and like the West Coast in general is that there is an emphasis on community and support. Whereas I felt like in the 10 years that I did music on the East Coast, I have felt more love in the 2 years here. And
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's
good to
a
hear.
big thanks to people like you guys who actively seek out people in local music scenes and local creatives and want to give them a platform to be able to talk about what they got going on. And there is stuff like that in New England, but I feel like in like Portland in general, I just see that emphasized so much greater as well. Like there have been complete strangers. Like for the Dreams of Disco album cover, I hit up Kingsley Music. I was just like, yo, like you have a disco ball. I've been looking for one. And she's like, well, you can come pick it up. I'll let you use it for a photo shoot. I'm like,
wow.
That's really
I
cool.
feel like nobody would normally do this to me. So
Yeah.
shout out to Kingsley. Check her out.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's something that's very unique about the Portland scene is that like it is very supportive. Like one of my good friends, Amanda Lynn Deal, who appreciate her so much. She's a comedian and she started off in Chicago and she had such a hard time finding support in the Chicago scene because it's so competitive. Whereas to here, it's kind of just like, hey, how do we lift each other up? Like I've got a platform here. How do I get you on? And now that you've got a platform, you're like, hey, how do I get you on? So I think that it's really, I'm happy that you've been able to enjoy the Portland music scene from that aspect.
Absolutely. There isn't like I feel, in every local music scene, there's always drama, right? But I've just mainly only seen support out here. Like because of you, I was able to make a good impression at Big Legrowski to be able to throw the Bars Over Bars shows. And then as like kind of like a repayment, I was just like, I want Zane to throw an album release show.
Yeah.
And then you were able to meet Dez.
Yeah.
Well, we actually met before that.
Oh,
but
okay. But you were able to
We were able to
impress
hang out.
Dez.
Yeah, that was the first time we actually hung out.
Yeah. And I also see you out. I saw you at the Thesis at the last show.
I'm always out at shows.
It's just
Go to a show, punk show. I actually just went to Speed's Auto Body. It was like under the bridge. There's a punk show.
That's
I was
cool.
there too. Like you'll find me anywhere. And Zane's gonna start coming to shows with me more.
Yes.
too,
That's something I
you'll
want
see
to
us out
work
there.
on as well. I want to be able to go to more shows with my free time. Also, quick shout out. Just some of the people that have supported me in the scene, like Ladies of the Rose, if you've heard of them.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Ebony, Kaz, and Rain Ezra. They're doing incredible
Ezra, yeah.
things for the women in the city, for the youth in the city, for pretty much anybody that wants a platform. Ladies of the Rose does incredible things.
Yeah, for sure.
There's Chain Taylor and DJ Arcadia with the
Yeah.
Flow Show.
Yeah, I love them.
One of the best hip hop open mics in the city, period. And I know that they have some shows coming up this month at the Mano Occulta that I'm going to be on as well, which is
Hey.
great.
Check it out, everybody.
There's just so many different people doing really cool supportive things for all of the artists and creatives in the scene. And one of my personal goals is I would like to try to do collaboration showcases to try to like, okay, let's network. Let's try to make sure that other people know about you guys, but also know about me as well.
Yeah,
But
Yeah,
of course. It's like-
absolutely.
yeah, I
Win-win.
don't know. I'm big on this sort of collaborative, cooperative. It's why I like co-op video games, I guess, because it's something that you share with somebody else and you kind of get through it together. And
It's like a little ecosystem.
Yeah.
Music or art ecosystem.
I've
really.
never experienced anything like this other than in Portland, and I feel like I came here at the right time.
Yeah.
So
I was also, you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask how the Portland music scene is different from New England. Is there any other like big differences other than like community that you've noticed? And, like the style?
You know, I definitely think there are cliques for sure. But that just comes with everybody. You have like a group of individuals that like to work together, and so they tend to like share the same experiences together. I try my best to go to as many different type of shows as I can to try to like meet new people. I definitely think people are more receptive to my music out here compared to the East Coast, that I think is very heavily boom bap centric and stuff like, if you don't like KRS-One, you ain't real hip hop sort of stuff. And whereas out here, like I feel like my more experimental, like kind of falsetto singing and then funky hip hop, like people loved it off the bat. And it wasn't that people didn't like it out east. I just think people are more receptive out here. And ironically, last month when I went back to New England to perform on a bar show,
Everyone was doing your style.
everybody was digging my style. And maybe it was just like the generation that I was making music with or something.
You're ahead of your time.
But yeah, I was just ahead of my time, I guess. But I just, I also think it's the crowd that Bars Over Bars on the East Coast attracts. It's just a lot more open, a lot more younger people, some older people too. But just the idea that people are there to support each other as a community. And that's why I really mess with Bars Over Bars and why I agreed to do like the Bars Over Bars PDX branch over here, because I see their vision of never charging the artists and giving a local or a platform for local artists to succeed.
Yeah.
I want like I was telling Zane earlier today, I haven't even really been listening to mainstream music. I've just been constantly listening to local artists and seeing like, okay, like I want them and them to be on this show and stuff. And so I don't know. I just love local music because the everyday people who have a talent that you might not know, and I want people to know about those talents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we do too.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
important to us. I love Portland. I love art. So I'm just so glad that we have the opportunity to showcase that and to learn more about the artists, because people go out and they hear their music and like, you know, the artists will go on stage and talk a little bit, but I think it's really cool to know their backstory and like why they're doing what they're doing and how they got there. So we have a lot of fun here.
There's a lot of people that grind hard, like this guy right
you
here.
guys both are
I make
grinding
a
hard.
lot of posts. I do not grind hard.
I feel
grind
lazy
hard.
compared to you. You're like, oh, I'm doing a show here,
Yeah.
3 today. I kind of feel like you guys have similar style of music. Has anybody told you that before?
They should. No,
They should,
You
yeah.
know? Well, now they know.
It's tough because I always actively, when I make music, like, you know, a non-artist listener is a different type of listener than other artists listening
that's
to
a good
music,
way to,
right?
That's a good way to put it.
So like there'll be people be like, "Oh man, you sound just like Eminem," and I'm like, "No, I
Is it because
don't.
I'm white?
Is it because I'm white?" Like,
I'm a white
no,
rapper.
but like it happens, and it's. Like I used to take that personally. I'm like, I don't sound like Eminem. You clearly don't listen to my music. But like for non-listeners, that is a compliment. Like, oh, this is somebody that I know that does hip hop.
I know and admire. Yeah,
you remind me of somebody who is doing it big. And I personally try to make sure that all of my sound that I do is personally me, but obviously there's influences that I take from. And I know that there are influences that you take from. You were talking about them earlier today with me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just kind of like, just being able to understand where somebody gets, not only like gets their sound, but the little places that we pull from, because I honestly believe a lot of us, we and this is something I had heard from Kevin Smith, and I think I'd said it last episode, but we imitate until we can innovate. So we like find something that we really like, we try to create as close to as we can to it, and then we create our own thing from that. So I think that it's really interesting to see some of those artists that we pick and pull from. What would you say some artists that you pick and pull from? You said Del
I've
the
already
Funky
said
Homo
Del.
Sapien.
Like Del has that sort of like
Del's the one.
Like that kind of flow. I love doing cadences in which like my inflection goes up and down, but I'm hitting every syllable. I like Gorillas a lot. So like Damon Albarn's humming singing, where he sometimes does falsettos. I sing in falsetto a lot. Sure. Ludacris with his inflections. Snoop Dogg with his delayed pause flows and stuff like different. I usually listen to artists for their cadences, and that's how I kind of pick apart. Like this would sound cool if I delivered it like this or something like that.
Well, we were sitting in the car and I was playing some of my music, and Dill just like starts imitating it, and I was just like, okay, he hates it. I hate it now, and I'm just going to assume that it's bad music. And he, you kind of explained, you're like, hey, like that's something that you do that you said was kind of like the ADHD brain, where it's just like, hey, like I really like it. That's why I'm repeating it. It's how do I kind of pick and pull these cadences and like the parts of delivery and stuff like that. So I think that's really a unique thing that you do as an artist, where it's like, you pick and pull and you create your own sound, because with you, like I can't say that there's anybody who sound like, even though you say you really like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, and I can see the connection, like I would still not, like if I didn't know who Del the Funky Homo Sapien is, or even if I do, like I still would say that Dill is something separate from Dill is separate from Del. That was almost very, very confusing. Your name's not even Dill, is it? You just really like Del that much.
Well, that's something I noticed about you too, is that when you were showing me some of your music in the car earlier, I was just like, wow, like you have a very like Zane delivery. Like you have, it's very punctual, very, I wouldn't say choppy, but just you have like a very sort of like bow, 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 getting straight to the point with a lot of your words and delivery. And I was just like listening to these, like, how would I flow on these, like in order to compliment Zane? And that's what I think is great about local hip hop as well, is that everybody has their own styles. You just got to go and discover them.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Have you guys ever collabed on anything?
Other than a show,
Well,
I guess.
Now you
but,
are.
I just keep racking up all these collabs I'm not following
so
through
many
on.
things.
Collaboration is so fun. It's just for some reason I haven't really done it a whole lot lately. I have an EP dropping at the end of this month called Legacy, and I collaborated. I've done one collaboration with one person out here, DJ Hodge, on a remix of a song
I love
of
DJ
mine.
Hodge. Shout
I have
out.
a song called Coming Up, and so she's actually reached out to me and it's like, can we do a remix? I'm like, okay. So we both recorded our verses in my like spare bedroom, like on my mic, and then we sent it to the engineer who mixed the original song. So she was technically the first feature that I worked with, but it was on a remix of a song. First original song, I actually have Refugio on a track.
They were at the thesis on with Roulette.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now
Crazy
yeah,
talented person. I had
Super
them
talented.
on a Bars Over Bars show, and I want them on another one. But they are also somebody who works really hard and travels all throughout the Pacific Northwest, and I'm really fortunate. It was one of the first people too where I sent them the beat, and then I got like a demo version either the next day or the day afterward. I'm like, good. I'm glad somebody actually messes with my music and wants to write with it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
be on the lookout for when Buzz with Refugio drops.
Woo.
So,
And then what was the song with DJ Hodge again?
Coming Up, the remix.
And that one's coming up soon. Coming up is coming up.
Oh
soon.
yes,
Coming
yes,
up's coming
Right?
up.
yes. It's coming
All
on.
right.
It's
I
coming
personally
on.
know DJ Hodge, so I'm really excited to hear that.
Yeah, I've wanted to go out because I know that for a while they were DJing at Rainbow City and stuff, but every time that they were DJing at Rainbow City, I either had a show that I was going to or I had work or something. And so, DJ Hodge, I really want to go and see you DJ again at some point. Just
I've
got to
seen
be
her
during
at
a time
just
in
like
which I'm
house
free.
parties and stuff. Mainly.
Yeah. Oh,
fun.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she does a lot of DJing out here, and it's really great.
She's somebody else who's always super busy too.
Mm-hmm.
I always ask this, kind of switching lanes a little bit. I always ask this question, and I'm curious, like, what gets you in the headspace when you're writing lyrics?
Oh, what? Sometimes it's just completely random. I do a lot of my writing on walks. So, and I feel like I'm a little bit crazy too because I live by Lents Park. And so, like, I'll go on walks at, like, 11 at night because, I don't know. I feel...
Sounds a little sketch.
It is a little sketch, but I think it's because I'm
He's
tall.
like, it is.
I'm tall
like,
and I
I'm
wear,
hard.
like, really bulky stuff that people leave me alone. But, and I always have, like a hydro flask that's, like, made of iron. So I'm like, this is going to be my
somebody over
cudgel. But a lot of my writing, like, the entirety of Dreams of Disco was back when I was living on the border of Milwaukee and Portland. And I was just walking on a path up and down for hours until, like, I finished writing stuff. I don't know, just being by myself, headphones, listening to a beat, and just walking is how I write a lot of my stuff.
I'm gonna
And
have
then
to
you
try
like
that.
write it down, or do you just like?
I have it on my phone, so
Okay.
I'm constantly.
I think you're a serial killer if you were writing with a pencil.
Yeah,
Come
just
on.
while I'm.
People don't do
while
that
I'm
anymore?
I used to.
Oh, so did I.
But
But I had a phone.
Takes too long.
I usually I take forever to write because lately. Especially after when I dropped the funk in 2018, I'm like, I want to write everything so I can perform it live. So, like sometimes I'll come up with a hook or I'll write like the second verse first or something like that.
That's interesting.
But I always constantly go over in my head and rehearse it from front to back to make sure that I can perform it live. And that sometimes takes a while too because I'll be like at the end of the second verse or whatever and I'm still coming up with like the final two lines, but I'm like, but I have to go through the entire song to make sure I can get to that point.
Yeah.
But Headspace, like, I don't know, usually most of the time it's when I discover a new producer that's like really influential because I might have like some lines that I write to the side and stuff, but I write to the beats. I don't usually write like a 16 and then just throw it on a beat.
oh, I
Like
guess
I
this
write to
fits.
how the beat invokes me to feel. So it usually depends on the type of beat that I get. The last song that I wrote was about a month ago, which was the two-step song that I performed at the thesis with Bremer.
Oh, cool.
Bremer called me at midnight on Wednesday. And I thought something was wrong because normally Bremer doesn't call me. And so like I'm in bed. I'm like,
He's got a
oh,
light
yo,
bulb.
Bremer, what's up? What's up? He's like, DDwili, I found the funkiest beat ever. And I'm like, okay,
what, DDwili?
sure, Bremer. And he's like, no, really, like it's the funkiest beat, and you were the first person I heard of when I heard this. And so I listened to it like on my phone real quick after we got off. I'm like, yeah, this is the funkiest beat I've ever heard in my life. So literally, I was like, I'll have this done tomorrow. So like I had a 12.5-hour shift the next day. I woke up at 5. And while I'm on my fork truck, I just had the beat like kind of playing in my mind. And I just wrote the entire thing during my shift. And then I told Bremer, like, I'm ready to record whenever you
pretty
are.
impressive.
So, and I
work
don't
harder.
normally write that fast either.
Sure.
Like it was the beat spoke to me. He said, I asked him what the topic was, like Henny with the two-step. I'm like, well, I like Hennessy. I can't really dance, but I'll make it up by spitting dope.
You can dance after you have the Henny.
Exactly.
What was I gonna ask? I think we're kind of close to the end. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. I guess the last question that I wanted to ask you is going forward, what is something that you want to in your overall career, what is your goal?
My goal? That's tough because like music is kind of like a hobby to me, but it's like a serious hobby, right? And so like the end goal for I feel like a lot of musicians is be able to like work with the cool people that you like. I would love to open for Del the Funky Homo Sapien. That I think if I was able to do that, I'd be happy with hip hop. You know, if I had a song with Del, that'd be even better. Like I think my main goal is just being able to meet really cool creative people who help me expand my musical career by having me dip into things that I wouldn't normally do. Like I wasn't doing R&B until I met my friend Tyrez from back home, and he told me like, Dill, you should continue doing R&B. And so like that's the whole reason why I still continue to sing, is because there was one person that believed in me back home.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
And so like being able to meet those kind of people that want to push me to increase my musical ability is, I think, my main goal as an artist. Is it doesn't really like, I would love to make money off of music, but like my main thing is I just want to be able to collaborate and make cooler and cooler and cooler stuff with people, and hopefully make those connections that like last for the rest of my life.
That was an amazing goal. Beautiful. So before we close this out, real quick, is there anything that you wanted to shout out?
That you want to shout out?
For sure. We'll do this really quickly.
All right, your Instagram and all your socials and stuff.
Before even thinking of myself, please check out my friend A Revolution. She's my best friend out here. She was on this show. She's my best friend out here. She does a lot for the city. She has this thing every month called Cypher Saturdays, in which people go into a professional studio with professional sound and visual audio, live stream, gets 2 producers, people freestyle off the top for several hours.
So much fun.
It's super dope. Support my girl A Revolution. Support Chain Taylor and Arcadia with the Flow Show. Support Verbs and Max Smith with the Thesis. Support Ebony Kaz, Rain Ezra with Ladies of the Rose. Support anybody in the city who's just trying to give a platform for local artists to do their thing, because
we gotta keep it going.
That is awesome. And please, if you want to, come support me. I'm DDwili at DDwili. That is my artist's Instagram. You can also find me on PlayStation, Twitter, all that stuff too. Yeah. I've been able to keep the same name for everything.
Gets around.
Online PlayStation.
And then Bars Over Bars PDX, BARS over BARS PDX on Instagram. That is where I do all of my hosting, curating, promotion, all that good stuff for the city. So if you are interested in performing on a show, we have a little bit of a list, but I'm always trying to look for more opportunities to give more opportunities for people to perform. So reach out to me on either of those. You're going to have like 100
people hitting you up. That's what always happens with us. We talk about it and like we have like 100 artists that want to jump on.
Excellent.
But the biggest shout out goes to these two for having me on this show to be able to talk about all this stuff. So thank you, Zane. Thank you, Des.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We really appreciate having you.
Yeah.
We were just saying that we could probably talk for like 5 hours, or like between the 3 of us talk all day, but we don't want to take up all your time. So
yeah. Well, we're actually going to do something that we haven't done before. Which is actually have our artists kick a song for us.
Oh, true. I wonder.
You think you got it in you?
You know,
answers?
Put on the headphones.
Oh, good. All right,
yes, God.
so,
that scared the living shit out of me.
I'm gonna perform the hardest song that I've ever written to perform. It's a song called New Game Plus, and the story of it is that New Game Plus in a video game is when you start a game over, but with all of the experience from the previous playthrough. And that's how I felt coming here from New England was. I had a decade of music experience, but nobody knew who I was out here. So this is my New Game Plus. And so I'm excited to perform this track for you. It's going to be crazy. I might run out of breath, but and I've never performed it sitting down before, but I can't wait to show you guys my technical abilities.
Should we sit here?
I don't know. What do you guys want to do?
You have we can't hear it. He has the headphones.
That's true. That's true. All right. So maybe I should.
Can we put him in the middle and then?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, this is our first time, so thank you guys for being patient.
Yeah. This might be good for me to kind of here.
Yeah, we'll give you your space.
Here, I'm gonna go over to this microphone and see if this works. Okay.
All right, everybody. DDwili.
Yo. Can you hear me fine? Regardless, I'm loud. I'm loud when I perform. So let me know when I can go, and then I will spit some bars. I am ready anytime.
All right, here we go.
Let's go. I do not hear anything yet. Here we go. All right, turn that beat up a little bit. Okay. Yo, listen. I've had better days, better days, better days, better days, better days. Now I'm cool. Hey, everything's better when everything's never been leveling how I do. Yes, it's that new game plus you ain't us too famous. Who do you fools think of too chained up? You say I'm too. I've had better days, better days, better days, better days, better days. Now I'm cool. Hey, everything's better when everything's better than dum. Yes, it's that new game plus you ain't us too famous. Who do you fools think of too chained up? You say I'm too. Hey, overpowered and too perceptive. Note the balance, yo, word the Tetris. I wrote the ballads while nerds were desperate for a little bit of cash. When I turned the chapter, I learned the patterns as you decay. Learn the matchup, you rue the day. I don't lash out, I don't tap out. You just back out, I choose to play for a minute and I get it in the long run. Hey, people claiming that I'm on one. Hey, homie, I was always on one. Hey, everybody want a song, but they can't have it. I keep going, new game magic with no opponents. I feel like no one can match me. No one can catch me. As I'm walking when later I do not bother with haters. I tell my father I made it up on the west side. Often I waited to be the product of nature, but got him Carter verbatim. I found the best life coming with story from all the past ones. Homie, you're boring because you have none. Capture the data because I've had it with fakers who cannot fathom the greater good of me. Rapper with paper, I'm gonna tap in the passion and let the capital happen. And while you let that all happen, I see you chatting with neighbors like, damn, this lad is wonderful. It's like he's had this done before. Like, A-N-G plus, so dope I already was. I wasn't born yesterday, so let me set it straight. I've had better days, better days, better days, better days, better days. Now I'm cool. Everything's better when everything's never been leveling how I do. Yes, it's that new game plus you ain't us too famous. Who do ya fools think of too chained up? You say I'm too. I've had better days, better days, better days, better days, better days. Now I'm cool. Hey, everything's better when everything's never been leveling how I do. Yes, it's that new game plus you ain't us too famous. Who do ya fools think of too chained up? You say I'm too. Hey, damn good rapper with no backing vocals. That can happen when I'm lacking focus. In fact, you whack hacks read for phones. In fact, you backpack memes alone. Like amateurs, all just amateurs. Never freestyle in front of the cameras. Never took a topic and modded it to be unique. Never thought you were confident to be you need better thoughts of evolving the question who's he. Never thought I was anyone but the new me. I said a proper prosper. Maybe you should take a tip and drop your jaw first. Maybe you would take a hit and take a drop first. Maybe you should take a hit and watch the boss work. You claim you'll beat the game, but play each one the same. I've been known about this open season, coldest out here, no I'm freezing, showing how I'm dope and needing golden power for my demons. Screaming, hold it down, I'm dreaming that I'm holding out, I'm reaching for a low, so now I'm peaking in my golden hour. Life is a mess, some will fail while trying the best. See, I have my time to invest in rhymes and lines, I'll finally rest. Never, nada, gotta keep it like a new game. Plus I'll never care what you say. I've had better days, better days, better days, better days, better days. Now I'm cool. Hey, everything's better when everything's never been leveling how I do. Yes, it's that new game plus you ain't us too famous. Who do you fools think I'm too chained up? You say I'm too. Hey, yeah. That, you know what? To be honest, rapping sitting down is way more difficult than standing up.
We found that out together.
But I'm glad I was able to show off that. I know I messed up a little bit on the hook and in the second verse, but
nobody noticed.
What? Yeah, you know what? Sometimes dubba dubba just sounds like it's part of the song, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God. Thank you so much. DDwili, everybody. Thank you all so much for hanging out with Carissa, Des, and I for Off the Cuff with Des and Zane. Thank you guys so much.
This has been another episode of Off the Cuff. We are signing out. Make sure that you subscribe and follow us on social media. Carissa, Des, Zane. It's Zane Thomas?
Zane Thomas. It's Zane Thomas. It's Zane Thomas, right?
DDwili
You got it.
Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, all that. Like the more that you subscribe and listen, the more it supports us. And maybe one day we'll actually make money. But for now, we're just, enjoying doing it for the community.
Doing it for the love of the game.
Yes.
It's always for the love of the game.
Thank you guys so much. We will see you next week on Off the Cuff.
Peace, love, donuts.
Peace.
Pew pew.